one day I was at a Grammy party, and I met Snoop Dogg, and he was just on Dr. Dre's album. He wasn't on his own yet. And I invited him to the showroom because he looked very cool. So the next day I go to work, and there's a message from him because I gave my card, He called and said, I want some gear. I said, yeah, come up. He came and gave him some stuff. He went back to L.A. About a week later, he called and said, I'm in New York again. I need some more clothes. I said, well, come on up. And he said, I can't really. I'm doing Saturday Night Live rehearsals. Can you come to my hotel tonight? So I brought him some rugbies with Tommy's name and everything. The next night, Saturday Night Live, Tommy called and said, Andy, turn on Saturday Night Live and look at the guys, Snoop and these guys have my clothes on. The next week, the stores sold out and reordered. And I mean, it's all music and fashion, whether it's hip hop, punk, pop, soul, jazz, whatever it is.
Hi, I'm Elia Einhorn. Welcome to the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Here at the Talkhouse, we pair notable musicians for thoughtful, unmoderated conversations and release new talks each week. Regular listeners will have caught recent episodes like The Replacement's Tommy Stinson with MC5's Wayne Kramer, or The Smiths' Andy Rourke and Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries discussing their new band, Dark. Check out these and all of our past episodes, and subscribe to get new ones on Stitcher or iTunes. Today's guests are Marky Ramone of the Ramones and bassist/fashion mogul Andy Hilfiger. Marky Ramone joined the Ramones in 1978 and played drums on loads of the band's biggest hits. The Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award winner is also a founding member of seminal punk act Richard Hell and the Voidoids. That's Marky playing on their game-changing Blank Generation LP. He's also an entrepreneur. He released a punk clothing line with Hilfiger denim in 2009, as well as his own marinara sauce, Marky Ramone's Brooklyn's Own pasta sauce, the next year. Marky's autobiography, Punk Rock Blitzkrieg, My Life as a Ramone, was released in 2015. Andy Hilfiger grew up playing in bands and working in fashion. His first job was at his brother Tommy's clothing store at 12 years old. He went on to join the company as a designer, stylist to America's biggest movie and rock stars, and more before launching his own highly successful brands. In the 1980s, he played in a band with Marky Ramone, King Flux, which also featured Andy's brother Billy and the Plasmatics' Richie Stotts. Andy has also worked with a number of celebrities like Jennifer Lopez and Nicki Minaj to launch their own products, and made Aerosmith's Steven Tyler the muse and brand ambassador for his Andrew Charles clothing line. Marky and Andy sat down at Samsung's flagship store, Samsung 837 in New York City last year for a catch-up. Andy, who was heading to the Iridium Jazz Club just after their chat to soundcheck for that evening's show with his band Sway, showed up with his bass slung over his shoulder. The guys talked about Andy dressing everyone from Pete Townsend of The Who to the Wu-Tang Clan, the Ramones working with Phil Spector and filming Rock and Roll High School, Andy recording with Joey Ramone, Dee Dee getting lost in a graveyard at night while filming the Pet Sematary video, and how Andy Hilfiger almost became Andy Ramone. Check it out.
Hello. How's everybody doing today? My favorite Ramone, which I knew them all, is sitting right across from me. And I'm very happy to see my good friend again today.
Thank you, Andy. We kind of grew up together. We had a band together for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And that was with Richie Stotts from the Plasmatic guitar player, and Andy's brother, Billy, and Anthony was the singer.
Yeah.
And then I got back in the Ramones again. But Andy became very successful as a clothes designer.
Yeah. Fashion and music has always been very important to what's happening really now and always has been happening. But, artists always have, everybody has their own individual look, but artists always have to look great on stage. And I I'm from a large family, and we didn't know where to get the clothes back in the 70s. And so we'd either drive to New York City to buy them, or we would make the clothing ourselves. And that's kind of how the whole fashion thing started. We would look at album covers and wonder, oh my God, where can we get, we'd look at Hendrix and the Stones and the Beatles and wonder, where can we get these clothes? So we would try to find them in New York or anywhere else. And then we started making them ourselves and creating our own brand and our own label.
Well, you know what it is? It goes all the way back to, the 50s, when Little Richard and Elvis, Chuck Berry, and all these great individuals and bands played music, started rock and roll, and with that came the fashion. So it definitely goes together. Then you have the British invasion, like the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, the Kinks. So it just keeps going on and on and on. So they definitely go together. So
well, the whole mod thing was unbelievable.
yeah, the mod thing was great, and then the Ramones with the leather jackets and the ripped jeans, starting punk, and then England, with the
followed,
with the holes in their clothes that they took from Richard Hell, and so it definitely goes together. It is an audio and visual integration.
And the classics always come back. I mean, a motorcycle jacket, from James Dean or earlier than that.
The Fonzie.
The Fonz.
The Fonz from Happy Days, right?
But if you think of motorcycle jackets with holes in the jeans and striped T-shirts and sunglasses, it's an iconic rock and roll look that the Ramones basically reinvented the classics.
Yeah, that was 1974, 75. Oh, God.
But Marky and I met in, he probably doesn't remember, but when I was about 12 years old, his early band opened for B.B. King in my hometown. The band was called Estes, and my brother Tommy was the promoter of the show. And my brother Billy had all these pictures of this group called Estes. It was Estes, right?
Yeah.
It's right before Dust or after Dust?
No, it was after, 73, 74. And then we were produced by Rolling Stones producer Andrew Oldham. And then I started hanging out at CBGB's.
And that's where you met Richard Hell?
And that's where I met Richard Hell, the other Ramones, Blondie, Patti Smith, Talking Heads, and
Plasmatics.
Me and Johnny Thunders had the same birthday from the New York Dolls, and then I never looked back. And unfortunately, 4 of the Ramones have passed away. It's a shame.
Yeah, but the legacy lives on.
Will never die. Definitely.
Marky's still continuing doing festivals.
Yeah.
I just heard they're going to play with The Who.
Yeah, we're going to do a show in Spain with The Who. And never ends,
And then in the mid-'80s, my brother Billy and I were in a band with Richie Stotts from the Plasmatics, and Marky joined the band as the drummer for a couple of years, and we've been tight ever since, and that was 1985. And we debuted at the Cat Club, and you couldn't get in. There were so many people there. It was like sold out.
Yeah, and it just and everybody's going on to do their own thing. Andy's a big guy in the fashion world now. I continue. Of course, Tommy's still there. Tommy Hilfiger, and we all know each other, and we all love each other, and that's very important to us.
And Billy passed from brain cancer, my brother Billy, after 9/11. So that's always a tough one.
Definitely was.
And he was a great guitar player and musician. And he also loved fashion. He used to dress up in military gear on stage.
Yeah, it was great.
So, but my music and fashion collaboration, I've been collaborating with artists.
Oh, tell them. Stones.
We dressed the Stones at Hilfiger, and I was just telling Mark about Pete Townsend tour. But even pop and hip hop, where I dressed the Fugees, and I dressed Puffy, and all these guys. I dressed the Wu-Tang, and Then they started rapping about us in their songs. So it was this new kind of advertising where, it was grassroots. All of a sudden you'd hear this track and they'd be rapping about your brand or you. And things just exploded from there. And then I started signing artists and creating a clothing line based on their aesthetic. And I signed Jennifer Lopez in 2001. And today that's $300 million a year brand worldwide. I'm not involved anymore, but I started that brand. I also did a collaboration with Marky in Hilfiger denim, a major Marky Ramone collection.
Great coat.
Yeah.
Great pants. We designed them. The leather jacket and the jeans. And
you
sold out.
And you've performed over there for, where was that, in Amsterdam?
Yeah. That was really cool.
Crazy. So it's really all about music and fashion.
Definitely.
But when it comes to dressing musicians, I just want to, the most important thing is building your own brand because, I did J-Lo, I did Nicki Minaj, Adam Levine, Steven Tyler. I've done a lot of celebrity brands, but they come and go. And to do your own brand is what you really believe in, and you work really hard to keep that brand going. So, but to tell you who I dressed, we'd need another hour. But I can tell you, I was at Michael Jackson's house. I dressed Michael. I dressed Metallica when they won their first Grammy in very cool rock and roll Red Label. We did a Red Label line because Hilfiger wasn't a rock and roll brand. It's classic. But we did capsules of rock and roll. So
they always supported rock, which was great. Tommy and Andy and Billy always supported rock.
But one day I was at a Grammy party and I met Snoop Dogg, and he was just on Dr. Dre's album. He wasn't on his own yet. And I invited him to the showroom because he looked very cool. So the next day I go to work and there's a message from him because I gave my card, He called and said, I want some gear. I said, yeah, come up. He came and gave him some stuff. He went back to LA. About a week later, he called and said, I'm in New York again. I need some more clothes. I said, well, come on up. And he said, I can't really. I'm doing Saturday Night Live rehearsals. Can you come to my hotel tonight? So I brought him some rugbies with Tommy's name and everything. The next night, Saturday Night Live, Tommy called and said, Andy, turn on Saturday Night Live and look at the guys, Snoop and these guys have my clothes on. The next week, the stores sold out and reordered. And I mean, it's all music and fashion, whether it's hip hop, punk, pop, soul, jazz, whatever it is. I was at the forefront because a lot of brands, they didn't know the stylist would call for music videos. When the stylist would call, say, we're doing a music video, I'm like, music video? Where? And I'd go to these shoots with shopping bags and dress Grand Poobah and dress all these guys. So our band, King Flux, in the mid-'80s, we did a few shows with the Ramones before you joined back with your band. And that was one of our highlights, just playing with such an iconic group. And then my brother Billy and I and Richie Stotts, we recorded a song with Joey Ramone at his apartment in New York on a demo. And then I believe they released it. Maybe you played Rock and Roll Is the Answer on the track.
I'm not sure.
But we used to play it live.
A while ago, yeah. That was, I think, 84, 85, something like that.
Yeah, that was a great...
So 6 years after Rock and Roll High School, the movie.
The movie.
Yeah. That was a fun movie to make. if you never made a movie, you sit around all day. They ask you to come to the set at about 6:30 in the morning because they need the sunlight and stuff if you're going to be filming outdoors. You get to the set, you sit around, and your scene probably only takes 10 minutes, but you got to sit there and wait. But you learn how a movie is made with the director and the other actors, and then take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5.
But at the same time, weren't you recording with for Rock and Roll Radio, or was that after?
Phil Spector was 6 months later.
Okay.
Right after
in
Rock
LA
and Roll
as
High
well,
School.
though, right?
In Los Angeles, yeah. So we made the movie Rock and Roll High School in 6 weeks on a shoestring budget, and they still play it today. But then we went back 6 months later, and we ended up working with the greatest producer
The big sound.
America has
The
ever
wall of
known,
sound.
and that's Phil Spector. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. He's on a vacation for a while.
Permanent vacation.
Yeah, but me and Joey loved him, and he's one of a kind.
Yeah. And then Ed Stasium, he did Rock and Roll High School, right? Did he produce that?
No, Phil did. He did the demo.
I see.
Yeah, he did the demo.
Can't keep track.
Yeah, there's so much. I think there's 18 Ramone studio albums.
Wow.
Something like that.
Well, I came across the other day, I forgot the name of the album, but you guys did, the Ramones did The Who and the Stones.
Oh, yeah, Acid Eaters.
That's a great album.
That was a tribute to all our psychedelic
right.
bands that we kind of liked when we were little kids.
Out of Time you did?
Yeah, growing up, by the Stones. And
Substitute.
yeah, we Ramones them up, and that was the result, just doing the songs that we liked doing. There were 3 songs I wanted to put in there, but they were a little too hard for them to play. Incense Peppermints by Strawberry Alarm Clock, Kicks by Paul Revere and the Raiders, and there was one more, Hey Little Girl.
Is that the same Hey Little Girl that Dead
Syndicate
Boys
of
did?
Sound, yeah.
Wow.
So, that was a good album. Fun album to do.
Really
It was
great
just
album.
our ode to that era.
Yeah. So that was very cool finding that
Definitely.
album again. You got to hear it. Well, when I was at Tommy in the beginning, and I was working with all these different artists, Marky called me one day and said, "Hey, Andy, Dee Dee Ramone's going to leave for a while to do his own thing, his own rap thing or whatever he was doing. Do you want to come play bass?" So I was lucky enough to go to SIR and play with all the Ramones for a couple rehearsals. At the end of the day, they used a guy, JR.
JR, yeah.
I almost was Andy Ramone, but I was Andy Hilfiger, so I figured we can stay
No,
brothers.
'cause his name's Curly. Only kidding.
So I was Andy Ramone for a couple days. That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. That was fun, I remember.
Yeah.
But the Ramones will never die, and the Hilfiger family will be there forever.
Under the October with the steamboats, ancient goblins and wallows come at the grand light making a sound. The smell of death is all around. And at night
Stephen King, great guy. Obviously, everyone knows who he is. We went to visit him where he lived, and he gave the book to Dee Dee Ramone to read. He read it, and then he wrote the song, Pet Cemetery, real quick. So it ended up in the movie. So that really helped our career at that point. Because
Well,
from
the video's great.
Yeah, definitely. We did the video at Sleepy Hollow graveyard, and we were put into a 7-foot hole, which was supposed to be a grave. We were on a
Hallowed.
platform that had, a hydraulics on it. We sunk into the ground, and you didn't see us anymore. And it was about 20 degrees out, and freezing, and you could see
But
the
you still had your black leather jackets on,
Yeah.
but you had gloves on.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, I'm trying to get out of there because I drove there myself. I couldn't find my way out. of the graveyard, and like there were no lights except the
Headless
lights
Horseman,
of the
right.
headlights of the car. So we go there, and Dee Ramone's in the back, my partner in crime, who isn't with us anymore, unfortunately, and he was really freaking out because he thought because we were in a graveyard, this was happening, But we finally saw the road and we got out of there, but not through the entrance. We got out to the side. I think we ran over a few graves. Not intentionally, but that's what could we do,
Well, things happen to, you never know what's going to happen. What a great song and a great video. And like you say, Dee Dee wrote that quick.
40 minutes.
But a lot of songs that are big iconic hits are written quick. I think.
Yeah.
Didn't Keith dream about Jumpin' Jack Flash or
Satisfaction?
Yeah. And the next day woke up and started playing it. And
Yep.
Yeah, you never know. You and I like Satisfaction.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're not going to.
I like Frank Sinatra, too.
Right.
I'm not, Frank Sinatra's great. I like all this stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. I like Rancid. I like, I have a radio show on Sirius XM. So it's a punk rock station that goes out to all the states in America. So I have to listen to all the new punk and old, I play the old punk, but there's a lot of good stuff out there. Like the individual members of Rancid have good stuff. The Gallows from London are really good. You got the Riverboat Gamblers. You got Anti-Flag. You got a lot of good stuff out there,
And these are all the new, some of these are the
well,
new
they're
groups.
relatively new compared to the older punk scene. But
Yeah.
of course I play Blondie, the Ramones, Patti Smith, Richard Hell and the Voidoids, Sex Pistols, The Clash.
Well, you played on Richard Hell's #1
Oh, yeah.
album.
Yeah, The Blank Generation. That was a punk theme.
My son, who's 18, he has his own punk band, and they play Blank Generation. I keep saying, Marky played on that. And he's like, he did? Because that's one of the songs it's an easy song to play, so that's where they got to play it. But he sounds he's doing the whole Richard Hell thing.
That's great.
Well, that's what that vinyl show's based on.
Yeah.
The Mick Jagger production
Yep.
is Richard Hell.
Richard Hell, and the guy supposedly is Marty Thau, the owner of the record company. Not sure, but it alludes to that. But
That's a great show.
It's a great show. The acting's great. It's fun to watch, and that's in a lot of ways it's very realistic vinyl.
Yeah.
Malcolm McLaren came to New York, managed the Dolls, stopped managing the Dolls. Then he saw Richard Hell, brought back Richard's look to England, and all the punks there cut their hair, cropped it up, ripped their clothes up, safety pins, and they took Richard Hell's look. And that's how you see the Sex Pistols and the
Even
Clash.
the Clash, though, they took all those old
Yeah.
used clothing and
Bernard Rhodes. So that's how the punk scene started in England. We were a year and a half ahead of them.
I think I just saw the head of Harper's Bazaar walk by. That's real fashion.
You're real fashion.
Yeah.
You are, Andy.
Well, we're fashion in music. We're rock and roll in fashion.
That's right. And that's what matters to us.
That's all. We live it and breathe it, and
Right.
we love it.
Have I ever told you how good it feels to hold you? It is
Hi, I'm Elia Einhorn, and you've been listening to Marky Ramone and Andy Hilfiger on the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Subscribe on Stitcher or iTunes for upcoming episodes like Steve Malkmus with Holy Sons Emil Amos and Dan Deacon in conversation with Andrew W.K. Today's episode is mixed by Mark Yoshizumi. Till next time.